Good morning, Anna.
Good morning. We're back again. It's
We
good.
are, we are. Day three.
I know, I can't believe it. It's going so fast in general. But yes,
It,
day three and mitigation solutions.
yeah,
Big
it's a
topic.
packed agenda today. So we've got lots of guests coming on later in the day. So that's really exciting.
Yes, exactly. It will keep us very busy among what is already looking like a very busy schedule today as well. So it's all go.
It is, and a great session to start things off. Did you catch the earlier session just a moment ago?
I did, yes. And I think what's lovely about that is we had speakers from different positions, but also in different countries. So we're seeing a
Yeah.
perspective on green and cleaner energy solutions from different countries and how their countries are approaching it and what could be possible, almost next year in some instances. There's some really exciting developments in what's being developed and all this ingenuity. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
stumbling over my words this morning. Maybe I need some more. Maybe my power source needs recharging. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, it's good to see Simon from the Cabinet Office as well talking about some of their hopes for COP26. I mean, it was really powerful, I thought, to hear just how much relies on international cooperation and also agreements as well about some of the expectations and standards.
yes. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It is literally, I wrote down the words cooperation and coordination. It's going to be quite a scaled effort, really, from everyone, from all different departments, and trying to, escalate where we need to be to make sure that we are actually hitting targets. And in fact, it was really interesting to hear Henry Smith of University of Oxford saying this morning, we're all aiming to be 50% or 30% or something by XYZ date, but actually instead of just being 50%, why are we not just aiming for 100%? We need to be
Yeah.
100%, electricity free in terms of where we're aiming to be. So we're getting energy off of the energy that we're actually producing. And so really, interesting, aiming high. I think that's where we need to be.
Definitely, and the scale of it is just huge as well. I think that one of the one things that really struck me as really interesting is I think it was Simon that also mentioned that it's not enough just to sort of incentivize existing industries to transform, but actually the biggest benefits are clearly coming out of the investments into clean industries as well. So that's, I think, quite a strong message to innovators, really, to try to drive forward completely new products and services and systems as well. That was another emphasis.
Yeah, one thing that I actually completely agree with, and I can't wait for the day where it is becoming that, but becomes a transformational aspect of how we're looking at green energy, because it's kind of still, it's still got kind of the stigma, as well as what was being discussed this morning by speakers, trying to get people to understand that actually, the energy sources are cleaner. We've got the data for it. We can show how it's developed. Now, actually, we've got offshore power, onshore power, wind power, solar power, all these wonderful kind of new, well, they're not really new because we've had them for a long time now, but the way that they've become, better applied, and also the way that they've become regenerative as well, they're able to reproduce extra power on top
Yeah.
of the power that they're already, making. And I think that's really interesting.
Definitely, that was a major message. I thought there was one comment about there's a bit of myth busting. I think it was a question about whether, in fact, the production of solar panels was a higher burden than actually the energy that's saved as a result of it. And I think I forget who it was that mentioned it, but the energy payback is 9 months with the sort of latest technology of panels. So
Yeah.
it's funny how perspectives on solar energy and solar panels may still be based on those first generations of technology that did require a lot of sort of energy just to create, but now how much has changed in just the last sort of five to 10 years.
Yes, and also now that these technologies have been developed and have been keeping on being developed all this
Yeah.
time. So, continuing to do that has actually created newer, better, faster, more efficient technology. And just talking about the battery cells, for instance, in solar power, we've got these wonderful new types of materials as well that we can work with. They're actually making green power cheaper. And I actually took from that really key message from that particular session we've just come from, in that if we can make green power cheaper than the current on offer, more dirty sort of fossil fuel based fuels, then we can actually there's no reason not to just change. And then that's, the customers will want this, the consumers all want this, and therefore it really just backs everyone into a corner in that sense. You need to move forward and advance, because that's what your customer base can afford and can want to go forwards with.
Yeah, definitely. And again, another sort of strong message from the Cabinet Office about one of the key things to do is to make the clean stuff cheaper than the dirty stuff. And that was a strong statement, I think, about just how we price things and make sure that they are appealing. And you see this sort of moves in lots of aspects of society. I saw Co-op recently has just announced they're going to make their plant-based products cheaper than their meat-based products to incentivize people. And I think that part of that is the industry is sort of pricing things that are trying to maintain sort of status quo within their sector by ensuring that new products don't sort of undermine the old products. And I think that sort of strong sort of ethical statement forward is really important.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's accessibility as well, because it's wonderful having all these technologies, but if we can't make it accessible to the general populace, then it's not going to work. So, and what is wonderful about it is that now we're in a position, and we're talking about Radhika from the University of Oxford. She was saying, that in India, they've been developing LEDs to the point now where the manufacturers can actually get them down to 2%. Just 2 cents on the unit, which is incredible, and yet when we look at LEDs here in England, they're still quite expensive to get hold of. So I'm really looking forward to that shift. It was actually one thing that I really wanted to do when I moved into this house, because everyone had spotlighting in this house and it drove me crackers. And I thought, I can't be having all these halogens everywhere. So I actually changed everything to LED, because I knew the cost of outlaying it to begin with, yes, was a bit more expensive than a normal bulb, but what I get back from it in terms of money and better source of energy, and knowing in my own mind it's a much greener way to be, is just, it sets my mind at peace knowing that it's all there and done.
And there's so much that's coming out of these sessions already. And it's for those that are sort of stumbling upon our Twitter feed just by chance, this is the live sessions associated with the Climate Expo, which is a program of sessions. And I would say more a kind of community. The Expo itself is a kind of culmination of all this collaboration across 70 universities that are working together to make sure that we have some clear messages, some clear strategies ahead of COP26 this year in November, which takes place in Glasgow. And I think that's such a crucial stepping stone to make sure that people are brought together, have a clear sense of the agendas. There are some policy briefings that have been written already that hope to influence not just policy, I think, in the UK, but also those global conversations that are clearly a part of this. And I think that international university network is such a powerful thing, isn't it? Especially around sort of collaboration on new innovation.
Yes, and that's the thing. It gives us all a stage in terms of universities as well to say, this is what we've been developing. And we're actually communicating as well between universities and saying, we've been working on this. What have you been working on? And then sharing that. And people have been very, very busy behind the scenes, it would seem, at universities, but perhaps it hasn't been reaching the realms outside of that university and that institution. So being able to have a platform where everyone is able to come together, talk, share, and discuss really key points, and also look at the projects that they've been doing. I mean, people have been winning awards and all sorts. I mean, it's it really is quite a wonderful place to be this week, because such a culmination of and a collection of various people from all different institutes, and then we've got the students as well.
Yeah, I think that's partly why I noticed that the student session yesterday was hosted in Zoom. And I think one of the realities is that as much as we put sort of things into the public domain and say they're available, actually reaching people is a really big challenge. So putting things into sort of social channels is hopefully a way to engage with people further. Because I know that, certainly it doesn't matter what level of expertise you have. If you step outside of your discipline, everything's quite challenging to understand. So it's important to have these dialogues, these conversations, to give people a chance to talk to others and have just a bit of a chat about what the technology is, what it means, and particularly, I guess, how it has an impact on their daily life, which is often the thing that people focus on.
Yeah, and actually, having come in as a young academic, I guess myself as a young scientist, it's actually been very accessible for somebody my age to come in and actually learn. And, I might not know all of the big words and I might not know all of the abbreviations, but I found as a student being able to come in here and actually, experience the conference has been really accessible. And that's also been made possible by other wonderful kind of points really in terms of like access. So I this morning went to the poster hall to have a little look in the media centre on the website and had a look around at some of the posters, and there's such a plethora of different obviously as we'd expect for the conference, to be such a lot of different ideas and a lot of solutions and covering lots of different subjects as well, and that's accessible. So if you haven't seen that already, you can get that via the website and go to have a look around in there. There's all sorts of things to learn about.
There really is. And I think that a big sort of, for me, the key starting point is just to start building that network around you, that community of people that are really thinking about this and trying to make a difference. And that's often the starting point to actually begin collaborative work, to have conversations about things and to reach out beyond your disciplines. I think what's been lovely so far in this week, and I'm sure it will continue, is just how many multidisciplinary conversations are taking place within single sessions, and just how varied the lives of scientists really are. They kind of are never just one thing. They're always doing a lot of different things. And I think partly what makes events like this feel quite inclusive and quite open is that actually a lot of scientists are really trying to pioneer new methodologies and try to figure out stuff that they don't really understand, which is partly why students are so valuable to have around, because you often find that it's the people that come from outside that have new ways of looking at things and have a different approach to thinking about the problem.
Yeah, new perspectives is always a really interesting sort of thing to align with, because you're going to have completely fresh ideas, and you might, I often think about this in terms of like idea generation, idea generation in that sense, because there's such opportunity, like I said, to do it. And we don't have to be focused on just one thing, and if that's what you do, that's fine. But now we have this opportunity in this day and age as well to jump between things, and we've got more opportunities to explore. And I think probably exploration and science have go very well together. They marry so well, and there's no reason in a way to not be excited about more than one thing. And you've got perfect opportunity here to network, meet new people.
Definitely. And speaking of sort of collaborate across disciplines, our next live takes place at 11:45 with the person who is the official artist for the conference, evidenced by the fact that her images are all over the place in the website and on the social channels. And it's great to have somebody that brings together artists and science together. And I think that will be something that certainly engages you, Anna.
I know, I'm really excited because I seem to have, as you said yesterday, I seem to have missed all of the sessions where they're talking about art as well as integration. So I am really excited to be talking to Cecile later on today. So yeah, that's only a little while away as well. Can't believe it. These lives go so fast.
It's a very busy day today. Speaking of which, we're about to jump into the next session. 3 sessions taking place in parallel today. So I'll see you there. I'll see you back at 11:45.
Okay, see you then. Bye for now.
In November 2021, the UK will host the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties in Glasgow, also known as COP26. The COP26 summit will bring together international government negotiators, decision makers, and policy makers to discuss how they should accelerate action towards stopping climate change. From small island states to countries with rapidly growing urban areas, representatives from 197 countries are expected to join the summit. We, the young people living across the planet, have the opportunity to tell these decision makers why stopping climate change is important to us, the future generations, and everyone's voice matters.
So we're making a film, all of us. Please tell us what matters most, and we'll bring your perspective into the frame. Tell us what is important to you and how leaders can change so that they can lead the change we want to see in our world. If you're 18 to 30 years old, submit your video on Twitter, Instagram, or Weibo of up to 2 minutes in high definition using the hashtag ActNowFilm.
Your video submission should include the following points: your first name and country, Why is climate change important to you? What do you think is the most important change that needs to be addressed in climate change? Are you a part of any group or organization? If so, where is it and what does it do? What pledge will you take to address climate change? And what would you most like to say to the global decision makers at COP? For more details, please follow on Instagram, Twitter, or Weibo, where you will find everything you need.
Here's your chance to show the negotiators what action you are already taking and what action you'd like them to take.